I like to declare something before I log off. I didn't click offline yet, that's why I'm still talking. Please tell me, 100 years ago, all the women that was 1 year old, what's the difference with them 100 years later? They're all the body of the wind. They all have the wind inside of them. They all have the light inside of their eyes. They all have the darkness when they all sleeping. They think they're many. The saddest thing what you can see is that dead bodies, the bodies is many, but the wind is one. The light have many duplicates, but the light is just one. The darkness have many duplicates, but the darkness is just one. 100 years ago, the first little kids that arrive, they are the old people. What was going on in the house? What was in the body of the people? What is in the people when they're running? What is in the women when they're at the hospital? What happened? Honestly, people, if we go outside today, there's no wind to come in and out of us, but there's so much light out there. Nobody get the chance to take their arm and connect the electricity to turn the ventilator to give us fresh air. There is wind that is in the body, and there is a breeze from the ventilator. Your grandmother was very sexy 16 years of age, just like my grandmother was sexy 16 years. What is different between the two? My grandmother died 16 years, but your grandmother is not dead, right? What's different between your grandmother brothers and my grandmother brothers? My grandmother have black brothers. Your grandmother have pink brothers. My grandmother will never make love to her brothers. Your grandmother will never make love to her brothers. Now, my grandmother choose your grandmother brother, and your grandmother choose my grandmother brother. One. What is inside the boys? The wind. What is inside the girls? The wind. They go to get companionship. And now later, there's this recreation, a boy and a girl. They down there because the wind that lives in the body, the light that lives in the sky, but only come up in, it's so sad, it's like we're watching up in the sky, it's daytime, like the sky is in charge of the light. Is the sky really in charge of the light? Honestly, people, the sunlight that comes up and goes down, is the sky responsible for the light, or down under is responsible for the light that come up and goes down? The plane fly goes up and come down. The bird fly, they go up and come down. The sunlight go up and come down. The moonlight go up and come down. Who is beyond the studio? If the sunlight don't live in the sky, it's like in the morning we wake up, the sky open, they show us the sunlight, and at night it closes again. Okay, God live in the sky. But if you wake up in the morning, you see the sun rising. The sun is coming up from the ground. The sun goes down, sunset, you're watching it with your eyes. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down. The light just go down with your eyes. But don't worry, there is the camera, a mirror. They call it a light bulb in the house. It can still showing you the shadow of the light. You're watching the light in the mirror, and that shows in your house. The saddest thing is, when you're born in Europe, you will never get the chance to see that your street is darkness. Never. Except if you're born in Africa. When you're born in Africa, you will know when the sunlight goes down. When there's no moonlight, your eyes just went down with big brother lights. In this world, we are all not so many like they make us to believe. We are not so many. But for as long as every decade there's sisters that get married with 10 brothers, and there's 10 children and 5 children over there, populations, it's like I said, like popcorn. The more you put, the bigger it gets, the bigger it gets. But you can see it's just one corn become duplicates that make one popcorn that looks so many. But your grandmother 100 years ago is the same shadow as my grandmother 100 years ago. It is the same. If my grandmother died, your grandmother lived, they will only know your grandmother as being the oldest woman in the world. Your grandmother died, my grandmother lived, they will know my grandmother as the oldest woman. But who are they? They're just an ordinary statue that wasn't there before. It is created by the wind and the light that lives in the stomach. If there's no wind and light in the stomach of your mother will not find the food to eat. There's a consciousness. The woman from Jehovah's Witness asked me a question. She says, there's a beginning to this life. What it is? I say to her, there's a beginning, yes. In the beginning was the darkness and the wind. And there was this butterfly made by the consciousness. The butterfly have the light. And from the butterfly become consciousness to create a brighter light and create the creature that is so little manifest to be the larger creatures which advance to the gorilla. And because the consciousness is the one that is the wind in the gorilla having sex, even till this day, it's the wind in the gorilla having sex together with the light. In the darkness, when they make love, the wind make love with the darkness. In the gorillas, in all the creatures. So for as long as they can distract us where God is, instead of God is all things, but they can tell you, even though that God become all things, there's a consciousness that create everything, and that consciousness live with this body, which is an ordinary statue build. They know when they build this statue and it's wrapped in a cloth, and the statue is never on the newspaper. You will never know who is behind the statue. The statue is not Oprah Winfrey, it's not the Beyonce, it's not the Rihanna, it's not all the people they tell you are important. This statue is just ordinary statue, but it's the same way those statue what they're showing you, the same way they created in the stomach, and what they become later. Now they look sexy. Now it's what they sell on the TV. But until you understand that what this statue know, the other statue on the other side, they will never know, because they will never allow them to find out what this statue know. For as long as you the observer, the one which is the observer, you come home, you put your TV on, what they show you, what the news say today is what you believe. The news tell you something happened there is what you believe. But there will not be a train crash if someone did not build a train. There will not be a plane crash if someone don't build a plane. There will not be a city flood away if people don't build a city. Everything is created, and there's a time for that creation. They know when they create it, they know when it will goes down. The one that crashes is not the body that sleeps in the night. The one that crashes is the one that come in the body and tell them what to do. Until you understand there is a force in this world, and the force is so big, and it comes with the wind that enter the body, ordinary body of the people. Just like a car is standing in a station, all the passengers can come in for as long as they have the money to pay the taxi driver. The taxi driver can drive them to any destination. It's like the body of the people. They create a music, they send someone by, your eye sees them, you fall in love with them, they stay with you a couple of years and then you break up. They send you the next one, you fall in love with them, but you can see the same guy you let go is the same guy next to you. The next one you have is young. Well, the one that go away used to be young. And the one that is young standing next to you will get old like the one that go away. They're only the wind and the light. You have money. I know, so much money. The ministers. You have your paycheck. They tell you have more than 3 million to 20 million. In my bank account, I have nothing. I have 420 euro for month to eat with my children. But I buy a lot of things African way. I manage. And some extra money which I saved and which I managed to get. But the last 4.5 years, almost 5 years, I don't date no guy. I don't have sex with no guy. And for the system to come up with a video saying you have to encourage energy, you will manifest. Well, if that is true, with all the orgasm I give, I think I'll be the richest girl by now. But until you understand, there is a war, and the war is women versus women on the other side with their children. The women that knows that I was wrapped in a cloth, that I have a soul that lost from my body, and they will play on it, tell me they have more than me. They will try to manipulate the situation by creating things which I already say in the past life, with books they already find in the past life. But for as long as you're the observer, you observe in the day, but in the night you're sleeping. If you observe in the night, you will fall asleep in the daytime. This is up to you, how you live the remaining of your lifetime. 20 years later, 30 years later, what you become, what you will tell your family. For them to understand you're not dead. You're just a taxi driver that drive any car that came out from the bedroom. And they can always give you a new taxi to drive at any time. It is not permanent. But wherever you end up, it's the same wind and the light inside the body. You get a sexy face or they give you an ugly face. It doesn't matter. It is driven by the wind, the light and the darkness. So, take care of positive people. I gotta eat before I drop dead. It is very important. Blame it on the darkness that came in your body to make you fight with the light. Blame it on the light that came in your eyes to show you, oh, those are sexy than you. But don't blame it on the wind that is ordinary. And when you get in a situation when people are crying, the wind is what bleeding, not you who's sleeping. When you awake, you bleeding with the wind that lives inside of you. But on the other side, the wind is having fun. When the wind is suppressed over here, the wind is not suppressed over there. It is the same mind game. It is the darkness that loves the wind and know the only way the darkness can have the wind is by taking the body and throw it 6 feet, and the darkness is in charge of the wind. But the light can have fun with the wind in the body because there's pleasure. But when the body goes 6 feet to the darkness, it doesn't function. The wind just get a new fresh face out and just live their life. What we focus on is what we become. If I move today to Japan, I try to learn the language. Hey, 30 years later, I'm a Japanese woman that have no knowledge about Holland.